Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Alice Rouse, author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Me. And these other little books right here, where you can get my books, my merchandise, everything down in that description. So go down like it's a tour bus in the 80s. Except put your knee pads on, because it gets a little rough down there sometimes. Lord knows why that carpet is rough, but it is. So anyway, as usual, thank you to everybody here, part of this community, lurking, members, especially the members here, Patreon and here. Thank you guys so much for everything you guys do to support me every month. It really, truly means a lot to me. So everybody who's been around a long time especially, thank you so much. To the lurkers, to everybody just making this channel and getting it out there. It's all appreciated. Such a great community we have. Really, really, truly appreciate it. And today, speaking of appreciation, we are going to have Boy Band Appreciation Day, because you know what? Boy bands are never talked about enough. And I went on and tried to find groupie stories, and they're very, very limited. I mean, we have mine with AJ, because Lord knows I tripped and fell onto his dick. So I thought I'd take this into a little twist. Instead of trying to find other groupie stories about that, I'm going to rate them to think what I think they would be like in bed. And we're going to start with the heavy hitters today. But what we're actually going to start with is I'm going to finish my favorite little cocktail of the day, the Fat Hooker, because we are getting all between the sheets, and, well, Lord knows. Do they really get between the sheets, hookers? Some do, some don't. Depends on the situation. So anyway, that's going to be our drink today. It's a really lovely little Malibu and some citrus vodka and a little triple sec and orange juice. Delicious. So everybody, grab your little fatties, kick up your feet. Let's have a little cocktails, rocktails. Cheers, big ears. I really do like that. That's like a really good vacation, summer sitting on the beach drink. Maybe after the beach, getting ready to go to dinner, cocktail before dinner drink. Really, really good, actually. But, okay, and speaking of laying on your back on the beach, let's get started with who would be fun to lay on your back for. So we're going to start with the New Kids on the Block. You know, and we're going to hit the obvious, and this one has Mark Wahlberg, was he actually in one of the New Kids? For a minute, maybe? I don't recall him. I mean, by the time I was out and about in the rock and roll backstage world, I was a little too old for the, boy band kind of music scene. I was more into the dirty old and English rock stars. So if there was an English rock star or a rock star that was anywhere from 10, 15, 20 years older than me, I was all about that. So that's why I kind of missed this genre, because it was just a preference thing. Because they were all pretty boys. Oh, they were all very good-looking boys. Especially in this NSYNC. Now, we're just going to go. I'm not going to say that Marky Mark was in NSYNC. He might have been. I know he went on to his own thing. But when I look at NSYNC, I don't recall Marky Mark being part of the videos. So, Marky Mark. I'm aging myself, but I've heard he's hung. So let's start with Donnie Wahlberg, because he is going to be the most obvious. You know he's going to be pretty good in bed. Especially now that he's got Jenny McCarthy, because I think she taught him a thing or two. But to please Jenny McCarthy in bed, you cannot be boring. And I think out of, because they were all really young when the boy band started. So they were teenagers, maybe early 20s. But really young, high school, kind of inexperienced boys. But along the way, a few inexperienced ladies got their hands on these boys and taught them a thing or two. So just because they were teenage boys with not much experience when they started does not mean that they didn't have some along the way. And I think Donnie Wahlberg, I think he kind of taught the other guys in New Kids on the Block kind of the game. Like, He's this Boston boy. He's got a little bit of game going on. He's got the deep voice, the swagger, that we all see from that one boy we go to high school with and stuff. That's kind of Donnie Wahlberg. And good looking guy. All of them good looking guys. But I think, he kind of had and he got a lot of the ladies. And was probably pretty good in bed even when he was young. So yeah, I think Donnie Wahlberg probably had some pretty good swagger. But was he the best in the band? Maybe at the seduction. And I think he's got a good size, whatever. But I think Donnie was really good at kind of the seduction, kind of making the girls and women feel like, and he could probably handle the older women a little better, but was still just like, ooh, like kind of scared, but at the same time, ooh, I got an older woman. I know what to do with this. Learn a couple things. So Donnie Wahlberg, probably pretty good in bed, no doubt. No doubt about that. That's kind of obvious. So let's go to Danny Wood. Danny, I think, and I don't care what your preference is. I'm not judging it on preference. I'm judging it on what I think they would be. Now, I think Danny would be the one you'd have a lot of fun with in bed. Like, he would be funny, but would he be crazy wild? No. I mean, he'd flip you around in some positions, have a good time, make you feel relaxed, and it would be absolutely enjoyable. He'd go down a little bit, but probably want a little more than what he's willing to give, which I think kind of goes for but no, I think Danny Wood would be fun. Would he be boring? No. But would he be outrageous wild up against the hotel room window for all the world to see? Probably not. But you'd definitely have fun and feel comfortable, and he'd buy you breakfast in the morning, that's for sure. All right, let's go to Jordan and Jonathan Knight. Okay, so Jonathan Knight, good looking, looks real suave, looks real, yeah, he's got some dirty in him. I bet you he gives really good. I bet you that man would not get a tap, tap, tap from me. Something tells me he knows exactly where to put that tongue where a lot of guys won't. I don't even think Donnie Wahlberg knew that one. But Jonathan Knight definitely looks like he could get a little more suave, a little more swagger going on in the bed. And a different type of heat. Like Donnie Wahlberg is kind of the more Boston boy. Well, Jonathan's kind of that New York City kind of upper. Yeah, I bet you he's got a little bit of heat going on and knows a couple extra positions. Now, Jordan Knight. Let's get into Jordan Knight. I bet you he's the 50 Shades of Grey of the band. Right there. Not even gonna lie. That guy, nothing else. That guy is the 50 Shades of Grey. He may not seem like it on the surface, but ooh. Yeah, there's something a little to him. Just that look he gets, that side-eye look that you're going to let him tie you up. And you're going to let him suck on your toes. Because that one does. I bet you he does. Him and Jonathan Knight, I bet you they like feet. I bet you they like pretty, pretty feet. Pretty sure Donnie Wahlberg was, but will he suck the toes? Probably out of a little fun, but not like out of seduction. And I think Jonathan and Jordan Knight both would have that part as part of their seduction. Like, they both enjoy every inch of that body. But Jonathan, he's going to come up behind you and take your arms and bend you over a little more than Jordan, that 50 Shades of Grey. And let's go to Joey McIntyre. Good looking guy, right? Good looking, boy next door, all American. Looks like he's got some brains. Like, that's the guy I'd want to steal my homework from, But that's why I bet you he gives the best in the band. Because you know what? He looks like everybody's little brother. He looks innocent and sweet, like that kid from, your typical sitcom and stuff. So he's got something to prove, and I bet you he does prove it. No doubt about it. I bet you he's proved a few things. And I bet you Joey McIntyre has probably had the most experiences with older women. And I say that because older women will look at him and be like, Yeah, he's good looking, and I bet you I could teach him a thing or two. And I bet you he took those lessons and graduated with honors. Yeah. So, and who is the best in bed in the New Kids on the Block? That's going to be hard to tell because it depends on what you like, what you're into, that type of thing. I think, like I said, Donnie probably started out that way because he probably lost his virginity before the others. And I know you could tell he taught him some swagger instead of just sitting around playing video games with the girls who were hanging out with him. It's like, at least make out. Okay, you're teenagers. You don't need to rush into anything, or into everything because they were already thrust into this adult world. So yeah, hang on, but every single one of these boys had an older woman get a hold of him at some point, and you can tell by that. But that Jordan night, I don't know. Like I said, there's something 50 Shades of Grey about him. But Jonathan, yeah, I'm going to go with Joey and Jonathan probably give the best. Without a doubt. But Jordan, he's the most surprising because you don't know what he has up his sleeve. So all guys probably very good in bed, but there you go. That's what I think what the New Kids on the Block guys would be like in bed. Okay, so moving on. We are going to move on to NSYNC. Now, why did I think Joey Fatone was in the New Kids on the Block? Not my era, not the scene that I got into, because like I said, by the time boy bands came along, I was just into those dirty, hot little older English. They were dirty old in English. I was well into my project of sleeping through English rock and roll history, and some new ones too. So but we all know I did get my hand on a boy bander. Like I said, it was totally, well, he got his hands on me, really. They were good, though. I liked his hands on me. So, all right, back to NSYNC. So we're going to start with Lance Bass, because he's smooth, and he knows how to move, and he knows how to please his lovers. You can tell. Like I said, I don't care who your bed partners are. It's not my business. It's not how I judge people, so I judge them by how good they might be in bed. No, I'm kidding. So kidding. So much more than that. But if they suck in bed, yeah, that's probably not a good thing. So Lance, but he's more that all-American kind of apple pie, good sex, but not going to be like zip-lining, bungee jumping, hanging upside down from the shower curtain, bent over the dining room table type of guy. But damn pretty to look at, and still satisfying, just like apple pie. It's comforting, it's warm, and had a little vanilla ice cream onto it. So good, but it's still vanilla. All right, JC Chazes. Why can I not say his name? JC. Now, he looks like he's going to be the frat boy in bed. Like, he's going to be fun. He's going to be trying out all the moves. Better than a frat boy, though, because and again, we're going to go to the concept that somebody older got a hold of each one of these members. You know they did. Taught him a few things. And JC, he was definitely the frat boy in bed of the band, but he was the best frat boy in the house. You know what I mean? Knew a few things, definitely went down on women, knew not to get too drunk so he could perform and make sure everybody liked it, because he liked it. He got off when someone else was getting off with him. So, yeah, pretty good in bed, but not the best in the band. Now let's move on to Joey Fatone. Some tells me he is surprisingly just fucking fun as hell. Probably got a big one. Knows how to get down and just fucking rock the whole body. Like, and you're gonna laugh your ass off. I mean, it's like, this is a guy that's gonna push you up against the wall, make you laugh your ass off, roll off the bed, push up against the window, wipe you up with the hotel towel in the morning. Kind of good time, and I bet you he's got a big dick too. So yeah, I bet you he's pretty good in bed. Of course, let's face it, we all know Justin Timberlake is. He popped Britney Spears. ruined her for everybody else. I'm convinced. I'm convinced that, and I think Justin Timberlake is good in bed. He knows how to use his body. He knows how to appreciate the woman's body. He knows how to use that good sized dick of his, and he's comfortable in his own skin. So having all that, I think Justin and Joey are probably running neck and neck in my mind right now for being the best fucks in this band. Yeah, but I think I could hang upside down from Joey Fatone. Justin would give it a good old try, but it would end up like a TikTok video. Who's that couple that laughs their ass off while they're trying to recreate TikTok videos? It would end up like that with Justin, but she'd still be having just as much fun, and his dick is just as lovely and wonderful. And I bet you it tastes good. I bet you it does. Like Joey Fatone, yeah, that's going to taste like a euro. But Justin, that's going to be more like a good, nice little ice cream bar. But yeah, so far so good, right? Then you get to Chris Kirkpatrick. Now, I think he's going to be decently good in bed, but I think he just is still stuck on he just sort of doesn't look like he'd last long enough to make sure everybody got off the bus. And it looks like he's a Gene Simmons, like his tongue might go in deeper than the dick. And I don't mean this mean, it's just that's the vibe I'm getting, and I'm sorry. Like I said, I bet you he does know a thing or two. I bet you he does give pretty good, decent head. But he just doesn't seem like... He seems a little more vain than the rest of them. Like, he had more to prove than the rest of the guys in the band, and not the Joey McIntyre way. Like, Joey used that to his advantage. Like, he took it into a little sneak attack. Oh yeah? I look like everybody's little brother? Well, watch this. I don't fuck like one. As to where Chris was like, don't say I suck in bed, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't want the teaching. The old lady he's like, well, if you weren't impressed me, you suck in bed, not me, type of guy. So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting off at Chris Kirkpatrick. Now, I think Justin Timberlake and Joey Fatone, like I said, they're neck and neck in being the best fucks in NSYNC. And I bet you they got the most women. I would say Lance Bass, but we know. Nothing wrong with that. To each their own. A soul is a soul, a heart is a heart, and love comes from the heart and soul. So, what excites us outside of that is all relative. As long as two consenting adults, that's all that matters. So, but yeah, I just don't think Chris Kirkpatrick has any game either. Like, you're the drunkest chick at the bar, come on, let's go upstairs. She's like, oh, I'm a starfucker that's going to be with an NSYNC member, cool. But then she wakes up the next morning and she's like, no, we didn't do anything, I slept with the roadie. Like, she wouldn't want to admit it. But okay, there we go. And let's move on to my favorite, the Backstreet Boys. Because now Nick Carter... Okay, we're going to start with Nick Carter. He looks like... Okay, he looks like how I described Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols. Like, when he's getting off, just about getting off. No fancy moves, no nothing. Dick in the hole, pump, pump, pump. Make it feel good how he likes to do it. But that's wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of thing. But if he likes you, he's going to make sure you like it. So that's how Nick Carter kind of strikes me, like, and it's Jerry Cantrell and a couple other rockers I know have this kind of attitude. There's getting off and there's having a good time with someone that you actually like, that you want to make sure you get off, that you're enjoying, that you have a connection to, that you have a friendship to, with or a relationship or whatever. So I think he's that one in the band that kind of distinguishes getting off and making love. Definitely. Is he good at both? Probably, but he looks like he has a little psychosis happening. And not in a bad way. We all have our, baggage, monkeys on the back, however you want to say it. But it kind of holds him back just a little bit. He doesn't want to seem like the bad Catholic boy. Ooh, but I bet you he can play one sometimes because I bet you he does get frisky like that. And then we're going to go to Kevin Richardson. Oh, he is a beautiful man. And he's the most cerebral, the most calm, the most, mature acting. So you would have a glass of wine, maybe a good cigar. Probably not a cigar, though. He doesn't want anything nasty in the mouth but his own dick. Because he's going to kiss your mouth. But he's going to kiss you deep and passionately. And he's going to make love to you all night long, passionately and beautifully. And when you really just want dirty and to be cleaned up with that hotel tower, just to be hotel towel, just to leave the wet spot, not just in the bed, but on the dresser and up against the window and the wall. I mean, Kevin is probably really good, passionately, love-making wise in bed, but he looks like he may cry afterwards. No offense, Kevin. But if it's good, sometimes we all cry. If it's that good. You know what I mean? But he seems to go, how was it? Like he wants to have a long, deep conversation afterwards. And sometimes I just want to go home. And that does piss some people off. So, and that's a segue to the next person. And we all know, I know this one, AJ McLean. He was pissed off because I got done having sex with him for the night. And I was like, okay, I'm going home. And he's like, oh, only hookers go home. I'm like, bitch, shut up. So I stayed all night long just to fuck him more, just to prove I wasn't a hooker. But he was definitely the dirty I was looking for. He's the dirty in the band. Like, he knows every move. He'll watch porn with you. He'll try out the moves. He loves a good reverse cowgirl. And trust me, he knows how to be the horse and let you ride it. He is good in bed. He does give great head. He doesn't care how sloppy it gets or doesn't get. It's all in the spur of the moment. You're just lost in the sex and the bodies and, just, yeah, just what you need. Just that up against the wall. The second you walk in the room, he pushes you up against that wall and just starts going to town and lifting you up and fuck yeah. So I guess I bet AJ. Like I said, I fucked him for a few days in a row and I didn't go home any night. Because sometimes you want to stay the night, sometimes you don't want to stay the night. And I didn't want to stay the night that first night, but I stayed just to prove a point. To fuck the hell out of him until his eyes rolled back in his head. And when he comes, he really comes. There's no holding back. And it's so sexy, though, the way he does it. Because oh, God, you just made him and he's so enjoying it. So did I, though. So, well done, AJ. All right. And he's got it, it's not the biggest, but it's definitely got some girth and it's not small by any means. It's above average. So, and he knows what to do with it. And he knows how to get it nice and, okay, we're stopping there. But anyway, and let's go to Brian Luttrell. He's intense looking sometimes, like, he's kind of, I think he's the 50 Shades of Grey in this band. But then again, I think he's very all-American, giving it the good old college try, and he'll try anything once, but just not too crazy. But, because, let's face it, 50 Shades of Grey is not too crazy. Like, it's kind of the mild form of all that, but he's also the kind of, I think he's the one in the band that really likes the connection. So he's the one that probably had the most road wives or groupies stashed in certain towns where he liked that personal connection and you have a good time with him. But yeah, I think Brian Luttrell really likes, like I said, I think he's the one that kept the most girls out on the road. Because he liked that familiarity, and he liked to be able to be comfortable with them, to be able to express his desires with these women and not feel, judged or anything. But I think he's still good in bed, and I don't think he's all missionary. I think he has some good times, but I don't think he gets out of the bed very often, or out of the shower. The places you would expect. As to where AJ, and I think even Kevin Richardson and Nick Carter would get you in some unexpected places. But Brian Luttrell, like I said, I think he likes the familiarity of certain things. And that includes positions, which is okay. It's all right. You know, everybody has their own things, and that's okay. When you sink comfortably in bed, it really does make for a good time. And let's go to Hallie Duro. Oh, yeah, he's had some women all over that little boy face of his. Some older women who taught him a few things. And I think he took a few things away from it, but not everything was his style. And his style is a little bit spicy, but very still much the boy next door. And I think he probably would be the more missionary, the more, because he looks to me like he's had an upbringing that was more religiously conservative, maybe, than the rest of them. So while he has fun in bed, I think Howie would be, he doesn't want to do anything he's got to confess to his priest morning after. And he looks like he might shower after sex to wash the dirty off. Like he's the one with the mirror. Yeah, he's the one with the mirror, like looking at it going, oh yeah, this looks good. Oh yeah, this looks good. Yeah. So I think he's a little more vain, but not horrible in bed. Like I said, just because you're vain doesn't mean you're horrible in bed. You know, I just think and he was the one I think that was like maybe the least interested in the average groupie. Like I think it took a lot for him to get his attention and to get him to take you upstairs. So he might have been the most particular because he wanted to make sure that she wasn't the complete sinner. She wasn't a fat hooker. All right, so there you guys go. Now, out of all three bands, who's the dirtiest in bed? Honestly, I am going to say somewhere between AJ McLean and Joey Fatone. But then you have that Jordan Knight, who's 50 Shades of Grey. So I don't know. I really don't know. For me, it's going to be AJ McLean because he's the one whose dick I accidentally fell on a few times. After Danny was in New York City at the same time with one of their crew guys. Yeah, long story about that. She was living in Florida, I was in Vegas, but no, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to give it to AJ because even if I hadn't slept with him, he's creative, he's out there, he doesn't hide much, he's comfortable in his own skin, he's dirty as fuck. Like I said, he likes that reverse cowgirl. But he does, I know things that he does and I like them. He does his thing with the thumb and the, yeah. He's got a couple moves that only two other men that I knew had. So that's saying something. But all right, guys, there you go. Tell me who you think or who you would want to be with out of those. What you think. If you agree with me about these guys, and we'll do some more boy bands down the line. I just wanted to start with the three heavy hitters of the boy band scene, and that is NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and New Kids on the Block, because they were the biggest bands. They're still touring. They still get together from time to time, you know, because there were tons of boy bands throughout history. But I think these guys really all kind of are the hierarchy of it all, for lack of a better word. You know, they are the ones that really left their mark on the boy band scene and made it into something completely different. And they all kind of made their own careers and kind of really just did their own thing. But yeah, I think they all did their own thing in bed too. But like I said, you know, older women got a hold of every single one of these boys out on the road. But all right, guys, hope you liked today's episode. Like I said, go down in that comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me who your favorite in those bands were. If you had crushes on them when you were young, or even still, because they're still good-looking men. They went from cute kids to really good-looking men. A lot of them. Yeah, well, all of them. But all right, guys. And while you're going down in those comments on the way down, you better stop and hit the like, hit subscribe, and hit my bells Join the community here at Cocktails and Rocktails, all right? And we'll see you next time. Cheers, big ears.